I'm a real deal. I'll shoot your liver out and hand it to you.
Who is ready for another Cue It Up podcast interview? I got a feeling Ed Liddawi is.
Me. Pick me.
All right, I call on you. I'm pointing at you while you're sitting in a women's bathroom so that we can hear you better.
Can you see me also, or is this just on the radio? I don't get this. How does this work? It seems kind of new technology.
Yeah, I got a hidden camera set up on your face at all times.
In my ladies' bathroom. Excellent.
I don't know. I just heard you say something earlier about that.
Yeah, I had to duck into a quiet place where I actually have a regular customer, a friend of mine, a long-time elder that I respect dearly. He's been in the pool game a long time, hitting some balls. So I just wanted to find a nice quiet place where we wouldn't be interrupted. So thank you very much, Neight, for having me on the show. I truly appreciate the opportunity and the opportunity to reach out to your audience that has great outreach.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess we kind of hinted there that you have somebody hitting balls, and that is because you are a pool room owner. So why don't you give a little rundown of your pool room in case anybody in the New Jersey area hates their money and wants to come spend it all with you?
That's absolutely wonderful. That's a great idea. Pool players don't like spending money. We like making money and utilizing pool rooms as a part-time income for gambling and heads-up action. Friendly wagers are perfectly legal amongst two people. And also playing in tournaments. But there's going to be a time that comes soon after this COVID pandemic where we need to make up what we've lost for the last 3 months of being shut down here. I'll openly say I'm $30,000 in debt now from the last 3 months. Plus, this is a roundabout figure. Plus, I have home bills to take care of, a family to take care of and provide for. But Sandcastle Billiards in Edison, New Jersey is approaching its 13th year in existence. We started in 2007, and in 2008, the market crashed, the recession hit, and everything went down. And major chains are closing, and Sandcastle Billiards was rising. Now we are in a social pandemic where Sandcastle Billiards is still here. We're going to have to adjust some things when we reopen, which we don't even know when that is. Phase 1 in New Jersey is starting on the 15th of this month, and that is only for restaurants and most essential businesses to operate at 25 to 50% capacity of their buildings, outdoor and indoor prerequisites, depending. Pool rooms are in phase 3. So we're looking at probably another 30 days. So I'm good to survive with my savings for 2 months, no problem, to cover. That's my emergency money. That's gone. Now the stress is setting in. So I implore all pool players to bite the bullet and instead of worrying about their individual pockets, it's now time to give back to your pool rooms that have been given back to you. And as we appreciate your loyalty to rooms that are dedicated to players in the game, we also call upon you at the same time in these rough times to make up what we've lost to get back on our feet. So I thank everyone out there locally and internationally that pays for pay-per-views or has visited Sandcastle in our last 13 years. September will be 13 years. And we want to see another 13 years here to provide opportunities for players and a place to play and have tournaments. Tournaments don't make money. Tournaments are great for the players. Tournaments put a lot of wear and tear on the tables, but we love them because we love the game and we love the players. And we come from all walks of life, all economic backgrounds and levels, and it's just a sanctuary in the pool room, no matter what color, creed, or financial status you come from. We're all brethren in the game, and we will make it through this, and hopefully we won't lose too many pool rooms during this pandemic, which brings me to the next step. Since I haven't been able to work in Sandcastle Billiards, where I'm doing some cleaning and sanitizing and renovations and so forth. But now I've been focusing my energy into the NBL, which will be hosted out of Sandcastle Billiards as one of the 32 Stage 1 amateur qualifying locations.
Well, you just gave the perfect lead into yourself. What the heck do I need to be here for? You are crushing it with these lead-ins. We are here to talk about the NBL today. So you are the founder of this. You are going to be working towards the implementation of the NBL, and it is launching, I believe, in January of this coming year.
That is correct, Nate. Just call me Mr. Segway. We'll go right into it.
So tell us about your NBL and your vision that led to this league and how you're starting to implement the actual starting of it.
Sure. Well, with any major movement or new business or development of any kind of organization, we have to, it evolves from a need, something that's missing, something that's lacking, a deficit in structure or in availability that has a want that people out there are actually interested in. So obviously, for decades upon decades, we've had pool players looking for something better than what has been offered for the last 30 years. Things that we used to have 30 years ago, the Camel Pro Tour, the Seminole Tribe in Florida. I can go on to IPT. Whether they were good or bad, or great plans that went bad, or great plans in the wrong hands, or whatever the case may be, we need that again to be unified nationwide and have something to aspire to. We have thousands upon thousands of regional tours. I can list them all, but that's just a waste of time. But we know there's thousands and thousands of regional tours all across the country. We have hundreds and hundreds of leagues as we know them today in bars or in pool rooms, where it's amateur leagues with handicaps. We have regional tours that are handicapped for amateurs and open pro events as well. But we do not have one unified umbrella organization representing our sport to the general public, a pro tour. We no longer have the Camel Pro Tour, the Seminole Tribe, but all we have are independent events. We have the U.S. Open, we have Derby City Classic, we have the International Open, the Texas Open, on and on and on. But all of these are independent events that are once a year and are not feasible for the average player to be involved on a regular basis to actually make a living in the sport of billiards in America. So what are the problems? What are we addressing? We have a lot of problems out there. We know it. If you don't know it, look a little deeper. I'm not afraid to address them. I didn't want to be the one to be heading this up. I came up with a business plan to address all these issues, but I was hoping someone else would take the reins and run with it that's been around in the industry, revered and respected and known better than I. I may not be well known as these others are, somewhat to a degree I am, but I've been around for 27 years in the background. And I've been thrusted into the spotlight in recent years with Sandcastle Billiards for the last 12 years, the affiliation with Accu-Stats Video Productions with the Make It Happen series and being housed at Sandcastle Billiards. Pat Fleming, a very respected and revered gentleman, now running the International Open. And I'm assuming the role of tournament director this year in October at the International Open at the end of the month. Now I've been hired by Diamond to work at the Derby City Classic, or announce the ring games there. Several events, we can go on and on, but it's not about me. How am I getting involved? What am I doing? What problems are we addressing? The problems we are addressing is a lack of unity, a lack of structure, and a lack of professionalism. So the NBL is based upon three principles: standardization, organization, and professionalism. Something that we've been lacking for 30 years. In other countries, they've been moving forward and upward with the billiards industries in their areas, whether it be, let me say, cue sports, whether it be snooker, three-cushion billiards, or pocket billiards, American pool. They've been moving forward for the last 3 decades while we've been going backwards. Our standards have dropped, lack of organization, lack of unity. In other countries, they have federations developed to take juniors in and teach them the right way and mold them into world champions. And why? Asia has multiple world-class level players. The Middle East has a handful of world-class players. And of course, our adversaries in the Mosconi Cup, Europe, has numerous world-class players. The U.S., unfortunately, we have one world-class player today. 30 years ago, we used to have 10 or 20 world-class players. And 30 years ago, although the game was different, it was a different game of street pool, but then transitioned to 9-ball with rollout 9-ball, the original rules, and then eventually Texas Express 9-ball in the 90s, where we were still the kings of billiards on the planet. In the last 30 years, we've dropped to become a laughing stock, or being mocked as the bottom of the barrel. Why? 1,000 reasons. Substandard equipment with miniature tables, large pockets, lowering the bar, in the bar. Amateur handicaps. Nowhere else in the world do we have handicapped events in pool. I have people that come over from overseas asking me these questions. Is it true what they say? Did the Americans really play that bad? And I hang my head low, and I have to nod. Because in comparison to the 14-year-old Chinese girl that breaks and run racks continuously on a Chinese 8-ball table with American pool balls, beating up on our American pros, yes, we need to step it up. We need to get our game back on track, and we need to be back in those glory days where we were the kings of billiards again, and queens. How do we do that? Structure, standardization, standardized tables, standardized pockets, standardized rules. We have 10,000 sets of rules in the U.S., which are all BS. There is one official governing body of billiards in America, that is the Billiards Congress of America, the BCA. Not to be confused with the BCAPL pool leagues, which branched off over a decade ago. The BCA are the only official rules of pool. Those are the rules we follow. 4.5 by 9 foot tables are the standardized table size. They're not big tables as they are called, as commonly we have 90% of the country has now gone bar box. Why is pool called a bar box? Because it's in the bars. Pool needs to get back to where it belongs, in the pool rooms. Qualifying events in the NBL are all based out of pool rooms. The 4 main events each year are based out of pool rooms. We're bringing it back where it belongs, stimulating the billiards economy all across America, not only in the 32 sanctioned locations that we have collected for the NBL, but in every single pool room that can host satellite events for maybe $20 to $30, $50 even, and making it cheaper and more available for all players to get involved and win a spot in a stage 1 qualifier for the NBL at the sanctioned location. Now, the other thing we're addressing is organization, which is what we're putting together. We're calling it a league, not like the bar leagues, not to compete with any leagues, but to complement each other and cross-promote one another. The NBL leagues, the name league needs to be redefined as what it truly is, as in it is in other sports. Baseball has Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball, the pros and the amateurs. They have a World Series, which is a series of events. Their schedule throughout the year is a series of events. We have series of events in the NBL called tournaments, which were unorganized before. Now, our series of tournaments organized, granting people into a higher level, into the second stage, which is the main event. It's only one step. You play in an amateur event, an amateur-only event locally at one of the 32 sanctioned locations. You win that. Now you get a free ride, fully sponsored. Flights, hotels, $1,000 entry fee, 2 issued uniform jerseys to wear with your last name on the back, the state you represent, and the venue you qualified through, plus a Pro Tour card for the rest of the year or next 3 events. That way, if you don't qualify again, you can simply buy in. That's a $2,500 prize package, plus if your area allows a cow cut or a side pot, you're winning cash that day. So you're on the up. And now it's feasible when you get to stage 2, the main event, every 3 months, which is a quarterly event, you're winning money, you're on the up, you're winning money. You win a couple rounds, you win more money. So now we're organized as a league. Once again, Major League Baseball, National Football League, National Hockey League. These are a series of events called tournaments, stage 1 qualifiers, and main events, which form a league. So don't be confused or misled by the name of the organization, but it was named that way to be seen by the general public and recognized as the official pro tour of billiards in America, or the official pro league of America, which is actually a pro-am league. I'll take a break right there. If you had any questions about that so far, Nate, I don't want to take up all the time.
No, you're good. And I do have a question.
Yes.
So there, you kind of gave the hint to this already, right? There are a bunch of different organizations out there, and you actually started naming. I guess you named at least one of them, right?
Okay.
So you can take this question in 2 different ways. You can either address why you think that those different leagues are not structured to be able to do what you envision the game needing, or what makes yours uniquely qualified to address those needs that you see in pool.
Okay. Well, there are independent events which have high overhead. If an event, like I mentioned, this is all based in pool rooms. So we want to stimulate pool room activity where people are playing and practicing in the same exact locations on the same exact equipment, which only behooves them to practice on in order to compete each month to qualify into the main event. So now it stimulates pool rooms, and the overhead is eliminated at the main events by not being a hotel ballroom, by not being in a casino, where there are regulations where Fedor Gorst can't even play in an event because he's underage, so he can't be in the building. So there's limitations, but we have to take control of that as an industry where we make the rules, we set the standards, we make sure it's done right, done honestly and cooperatively amongst all of our peers in the industry for the overall good of the game and the players. It's not about me, it's not about you or any one organization, it's about all of us. The integrity of the game must be restored, and players must be respected and given what they deserve. Which leads me to several things to discuss. So why does this structure work? We don't have the overhead. We have venues in place already trying to stay afloat. So we're helping one another by stimulating the activity in the pool rooms. And the pool rooms open their doors and are actually paid to host an event. There's 150 fee for the amateur events, the amateur qualifiers. I call them stage 1 qualifiers. These are amateurs only. If you are in the top 200 BCA rankings in America as a pro player, you are not allowed to play in a stage 1 event. You are grandfathered in and no longer have to prove yourself because you're an established professional. You simply buy into stage 2, the main event, every 3 months, the quarterly event. Now, if you have, let's say, a Fargo rating of 9.7, Fargo considers a professional at 720. That's where they draw the line as far as what is considered a professional. So 719 and down, amateurs, they can play in the qualifiers for $150 and get into the main event. 719 and down. 720, not allowed. You've earned your right, you've established yourself, you can buy in at the main event. I understand that numbers fluctuate and all, so I'm going to put out a buffer zone or a number range. If you're in that number range, you can do both, where you can play in a qualifier, try to save money instead of paying a $1,000 entry. You can play in a qualifier. If you win it, great. If not, you can still buy in. So that way it kind of helps those people that are fluctuating. If they're at 719, next week they're 721, and then they're back to 719, what did they do? Okay, fine. We'll do like a 10 to 20 point range buffer. I'll put that out there. But what makes it feasible for the player? Right now, with all these independent events or tours or whatever, it's not worth it for American players at the pro level or amateur to travel around the country, spend an average of $1,200 to $2,300 to enter an event with their entry fees, their hotels, their flights, and so forth, and then pay expensive, inflated prices at these casinos and hotels that are gouging us, just as we've had bad promoters in the past, just a handful that have raped the players or continue to rape the players on a regular basis. We have had several price gouging, greedy venue hosts to our events where we have been nomads running from casinos and hotel ballrooms from one to another, satisfying their requirements. It's not enough that we get them 1,000 to 5,000 people at their venues, eating their food, drinking their alcohol, buying their merchandise, renting their rooms. That's not enough. We must guarantee hundreds and hundreds of rooms to be booked throughout that week. Not 100 or 2, 400, 500 room night stays guaranteed. If not, the promoter must pay the difference. We must guarantee 6-figure incomes at their restaurants, 6-figure incomes at their bars, 6-figure incomes at their shops. If not, we must pay the difference. Why? It's not enough. I thought about, not being so harsh with it, but that's what it is. Price gouging and taking advantage of a situation where we're bringing them business and it's not appreciated one bit because we're pool players and there's a stigma to overcome. And no matter how many years we're in a location, they might become more relaxed about it, but we still have to meet those requirements. In the pool rooms, our regional tours typically ask the pool room to add money. I, as a pool room owner, wish I could host every single tour out there and have tournaments every night of the week or every weekend of the month. I cannot afford that, nor can most venues. If you don't serve alcohol or have a full kitchen and you're just a bare bones pool room like Sandcastle Billiards, just like Ames, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, no bar, just pool. You cannot survive and host events because there's no way to make up those required or requested added money of $1,500, $1,000, $500 even, or in some cases, $10,000 to be added to an event to host where they're taking up the space. You can't rent the tables. You can't make any money, and you're expected to hustle. Even if you do serve alcohol and have a full kitchen, you're expected to hustle hamburgers and hot dogs and potato chips to make back that $500, $1,000, $1,500, or $10,000 plus. Piss off all your regulars that are there every day supporting your business because they can't play on their favorite table because some random people that come around once a year or once every 3 months want to play a tournament and make money at it, and they're getting paid to be there. That business model does not work. That's self-damaging within the industry and ridiculous. These tours need to find their own funding for that, not ask the venue to open up their doors, lose business on the day for anywhere from $500 to $3,000, and then pay them added money so they can make money on it, and they're guaranteed the profit with zero overhead? No, that does not work. That ends with the NBL. All the 32 venues that are hosting these events are being paid, not much, a few $100s, just to help defer the costs because we're using their equipment. We're putting wear and tear on their equipment. We're beating up their equipment all day, all night with our tournaments for pennies. So at least we're not asking them for anything.
That definitely sounds significantly more sustainable, to say the least. So take me through the actual money breakdown of your organization, because I think it's pretty unique.
But just to start out with the money collected at each venue, $300 goes to the venue for hosting. $300 goes to the tournament director for spending a month or two advertising, promoting, talking to players, and doing all the footwork, gathering 32 players each month to put in and collecting the entry fees and organizing and advertising, and so forth and so forth. It's a lot of work. So I want the tournament directors to be paid. I want the venues that are generous enough to offer their location and give up their business for those days, whether it's a 1-day event or 2-day event, depending on how many tables they have available. They get paid for that. It's a business. The well must be given to and taken from, not just take. So they will be paid for that. A $150 entry fee from 32 players totals $4,800. Everything is open book, full transparency. So for those that don't know me, here it is. $4,800 is collected at each location, 32 locations. You have 32 players playing. The top 8 will be awarded cash, whether it's Calcutta money, if they're allowed to have a Calcutta, or a player auction, side pot, or if they run satellite events collecting money to save up for that, we'd like all top 8 to win something, which is why other qualifiers in the past in America have not worked. Typically, first place wins a free spot in the main event, and second place gets nothing. First place also has to pay their airfare, their hotel, expensive venue prices, not with this business model. We're eliminating all those problems. We're addressing the problems in the design. Top 8 win cash that day locally, so you at least break even coming in 8th place out of 32. That's a top 25% of the field. Here's a little harsh truth, folks. If you don't make the top 25% in the field of a competition, you don't win anything. You haven't earned anything. Try again next month. That's all. It's not hard. Or if you buy somebody in the Calcutta, great. You might make something on the side. But that's competition. No, not everyone wins. But if you didn't make the top 25%, you should have no beef, no quarrels, because it's competition. Top 25% get paid. First place gets paid and wins the $2,500 average, prize package of $1,000 entry fee into the main event. Once again, their tour card, they get their flight paid for round trip, their 4-night hotel stay paid for, and get issued 2 official uniform jerseys, promoting them, representing their state, and advertising for the venue that was so gracious to host. Never before has that ever been done. I've spoken to several professionals from the old times till now. Never before have they ever had a full free ride qualifying at any level, whether amateur or professional. But what are the benefits to the players? Obviously, they're now on a free ride as an amateur player on the big stage in a 128-player field. We collect $4,800. $600 stays at the venue. $4,200 gets sent in to the NBL headquarters to manage and pay for everyone's flights, hotels, and uniforms, plus about 5 to 7% go to operational costs. Woohoo! So it's open book. 70% of everything goes, 75% of everything goes right back to the players in cash prizes and cash and prizes, I should say, flights, hotels, so forth, uniforms, everything. So now you're on a free ride. Overhead costs are covered. You get to the main event. Can you make money at the main event? Yes. Why? It's being seeded. So that way, all 64 winners from across the nation. And now how do I get the 64 winners? In January, we have a qualifier. In February, we have a qualifier. So 32 locations, 32 winners in January, 32 winners in February. In March, we have the main event. We have 64 amateurs that got there for free. Up money, not costing them a dime. In the first round, the main event, all amateurs will play one another. That's how it's seeded, folks. You're still playing amateurs only in the first round of the main events, guaranteeing 32 amateurs advance to the winner's side and 32 will go to the one-loss side. This is true double elimination, no extended race. At the same token, 64 top professionals in the country that are in the top 200 BCA ranks or 720 and above pay $1,000 entry. They're also issued uniform jerseys because this is an organized professional sports league. Sports teams out there represent teams and organizations or individuals with their name on their back in uniforms and jerseys all the time. We need to do the same. We need to have a unified look, a unified nation of pool players. If I ask 10 people to draw a picture of a football player, they'll look similar. A baseball player will look similar. A hockey player will look similar. If I ask 10 people to draw a picture of a pool player, you'll get one guy in a tuxedo playing snooker, one guy in a vest playing three-cushion billiards. Then you have a guy with his pants sagging down and his butt crack out at a bar bent over a table. One guy with a hat backwards, one guy with tatted sleeves, one guy that's clean cut with a polo, one female, one child, one with a beer bottle in their hand, one smashing a stick over someone's head. That stigma must be overcome, or disorganization must be overcome, and have an overall look similar to the Moscone Cup, where it's clean cut, organized, and an athletic look to it to also advertise with the athletic requirements of the game to represent it as an athletic sport. So it has to look like a uniform, not just a polo shirt like golfers. Okay? Every polo shirt comes along, everyone puts their name on it. We need an actual uniform look. Universal for men and women, as men, women, and juniors all can play in the NBL on the same platform, proving themselves through skills, their skill sets against one another. So the 64 professionals that pay in for $1,000 get issued their jerseys, and they play each other in the first round as well. So now they must prove themselves amongst their peers, guaranteeing 32 professionals advance on the winner's side and 32 go to the one-loss side. In the second round, everyone mixes together, it shuffles in, and now you have to fight. Will amateurs make money at the main event? Sure. Play well, make money. The format is a short race alternate break favoring the lesser player, giving multiple opportunities to win. And being seeded with the first round, you're already pretty much half of you are granted into the second round on the winner's side. So you have to do something to earn a win eventually. There are no participation trophies. You must earn your money. And as in every other sport, there are some that will excel. Do I expect an amateur player to win the $30,000 first place prize at the main event? No. Is it likely? No. But will they make $5,000, $10,000, possibly $15,000? Yes. You on your good day versus the better player on their bad day equals a win for you. The format handles that. Races to 7 on the first round and on the one-loss side. Races to 11 on the undefeated side of the charts in the main event. Coming back to the local level, it's only a race to 5 alternate break on the first round, and on the one-loss side. And then it goes up to a race to 9 on the winner's side, moving forward, and all those that have been undefeated for the amateur stage 1 events. So can a B-class player beat an A player in a race to 5 alternate break? I think so. If not, you're not ready to compete. Put a little time in, practice more, take a lesson, watch some DVDs, get ready, and come back.
With speaking to you off air, another really interesting part of what you're doing with the NBL is the way players become sponsored for these events. And I would like you to take me through that, because this is actually another thing that it seems like it's going to be really sustainable for the players, and it's really unique to your league. So I think it'd be valuable to touch on. So why don't you talk about your sponsoring for the players?
I know a lot of people will hate me for this, and some people will love me for this. A lot of companies out there give a player a piece of chalk or a T-shirt or a glove or even a cue stick and become their sponsor. You cannot pay for hotels, entry fees, or flights with a cue stick or a glove or a piece of chalk. That's not sponsorship. I want to raise the value of the players, whether it be amateur or professionals. The only way a player can wear a sponsor's patch on their uniform is one of three ways. They pay their entry fee, pay their travel expenses, or pay their hotel. Proof of purchase required from the company name or account. If you're an amateur player, it's only $150 to get into a qualifier. You can get up to three sponsors on your chest for $50. Your local APA organizations, I call them out. Support your players. Support your players and give back to those that have been paying you millions for decades. Throw $150, sponsor them, put your APA patch on their chest, advertising your league. If they win that qualifier, that patch carries over to the main event for national broadcasting across 32 different platforms, streaming these events all across the nation on the same exact day, like watching the elections to see who will win in each and every state on qualifier day. Then again, that patch carries over for advertisement at the main events. Again, will be multicasted onto several platforms, the NBL USA website, Facebook, YouTube, all the things, every social platform out there, multiplied by 32. That's power of advertisement. Leveraging our unity as one coherent organization, supporting one another at all levels. I will advertise APA, I will advertise TAP League, I'll advertise BCAPL, CSI League, BCAPL, I said that, but what's the other one? USAPL. Hey, I welcome everyone to be involved in this organization. If you look at NASCAR jerseys, there's thousands of patches all over their jerseys. If you look at the NFL, are there not Pop Warner leagues for little kids to get into in local townships? Great. And they have a star player? Good. Sponsor them, promote them. I also plan on using and leveraging the 32 network of locations in the NBL to support other organizations, not just the NBL, and put together use the structure to put together qualifiers for, let's say, the WPBA or the NEWT, rather than separating women into two separate organizations and banning them from playing in one another, limiting their income. It's self-destructive. Wake up. Stop competing with yourselves. There's not enough of you. There's not enough of us. We have to work together. I will have a women's-only qualifier across 32 locations at some point to sponsor women players into the next whatever large women's event. At the same token, one thing we can all agree on, we love our kids. We want to sponsor the BEF, the Billiards Education Foundation, and hold a juniors-only qualifier at all 32 locations and sponsor those kids so mom and dad don't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars carting junior around, flying them around just to make one national event here or there. It's too expensive. It's not feasible. We want it accessible and feasible for anywhere from $50 to $150 to get involved. We have over 200,000 people that play pool avidly and on a regular basis competing. All we need is 0.5% of that to participate on a monthly basis. 1,024 players across 32 locations, including Alaska and Hawaii, because we always forget about those guys out there. Not just the continental U.S., but Alaska and Hawaii are involved. Velvet Touch Billiards, Clancy's Billiards, Honolulu, and Anchorage. They are involved as well. They will be sending people over. But we don't want to forget about anybody. So professionals that get sponsorship, to go back on that topic, professionals to be sponsored. Professional players should not be owned by a company for a piece of chalk or a bunch of cue sticks that they get on consignment and have to hustle and sell to make love. Now they've been turned into a sales rep. They're not a player. We want to focus on their talent. Their job is to play, which is the easiest job to do for players. All they have to do is show up and play. Not easy to accomplish, but I mean, that's all they have to worry about. That's all they should have to worry about. Focusing on playing and not worrying about making fifth place or better in an event to break even on that $1,200 to $2,300 venture. In the NBL, it's balanced out. But let's talk about that sponsorship. I'll get to the balanced out payouts and the breakdown because, like I said, everything's an open book. If you have any quarrels with it, don't play. I mean, it's so simple and so beneficial to every single player at every level. If you want to sponsor a professional player as a company, pay their entry fee of $1,000. You get the top spot on their chest. Put your patch on them. Put the queued up patch right on the top spot. The other two spots are for their travel expenses and hotel stay. If you can't afford $1,000 to put them in, $1,000 to put them in, or all three, then pick one of the other ones. Sponsor the players. Defer their costs. Now, when they're there, they're not stressing about making fifth place or even third place in some instances, just to break even in their livelihood. This is their only income. To be a full-time pool player, you can't work full-time. It hurts your game. We have a few players out there and pros that are already signed up and involved or that want to sign up and are involved in the NBL that work full-time jobs. They can't wait to retire just to go full-time to play pool because now their game can elevate. We don't have to explain that. You're pool players. You understand the amount of time required to put on the table to practice and prepare for competition or to be competitive and to keep your game up or advance. So sponsor the players. Remove that burden off their mind, off their shoulders when they're playing that they have to make up. Get it to fifth place out of 128 players to break even, or third place to start making a profit. It's ridiculous. The structure has been asked backwards for too long. Now, removing that, let's say, almost $200,000 burden off of their mind, they can play. And you have advertisement on a professional player for a mere $2,000 for a business. It's not an expensive advertising budget. Okay? And if it's too big and you're a small mom and pop shop, great. Pay $400 for their hotel. Maybe $500 to $1,200 for their flight. Okay, let's say it's all in the U.S. So the most it's going to be is around $500, $550 maybe for a flight. That you can afford. You can find it in 3 months. You have 3 months to collect $500 to $1,000 to sponsor a player, help sponsor a player. If you have it and you're willing to pay all three, you're the only patch on their chest. Now the player has a value, a price tag of at least $2,000 on them. Maybe $1,200 if you're lucky, if they're local and they only drive in. Great. It's not expensive. It's not a lot. And the players all benefit. I'll stop there. I'll take a breather. Anything about that that you want to touch up on, Nate?
I mean, you covered most of what actually happens as far as the events itself. But I wouldn't mind, I guess, nailing in a little bit more on a more, I guess, refined level. I am a 660-ish Fargo player. And in Wisconsin, I have been completely delegated basically out of playing pool. I can still play every now and then on like weekly events, stuff like that. But as far as there still has not been a single event on the weekend that I have been able to play since our state has opened back up about a month ago. Everything is 575 and under or 425 and under, whatever it is. It's something Fargo. It's something Fargo capped. And a lot of the players that I talk to around my range, and anybody who listens to the podcast, I sometimes take little shots here and there because it is a very frustrating thing, right? And I can accept at the same time that this is good for pool because there are a lot of players that are going. There's 6, 7, 8 tournaments across the state that each have 35 to 45 players in them, and I see what the numbers are, and I see how many people are playing in these events. So I can't question that it's a very good thing for pool. But it's a very frustrating thing that I have to basically be told I can no longer play so that we can get our numbers up. This seems like a league that is going to give me personally something to look forward to where I can see on a radar, a spot on a calendar, this date, this is my opportunity. Yes, I might be playing against 720 Fargo level players, but if you get to my level of ability, you're not afraid of any other player because your best game competes with their best game for the most part. I mean, not, my best game doesn't beat their best game, but my best game competes with their best game. So, if I play my game, I have a chance. And it's nice to see that there's actually, I mean, that's a really long tangent, but what I'm saying is it's really nice to see that there's a league that's actually being built for players like me to be able to be motivated to get good at, continue working on my game. Because right now, unless I am a practice warrior and I just want to go show up to the pool hall and work on my game for basically nothing, I'm not playing for anything. I'm playing for nothing because there's no events for me.
Yeah, it's very true. And we have this common problem at all levels. I mean, we can go back to the bar leagues where they're designed to make money for the bars, make money for the league operators and the league itself, which is a great business plan, but it's not conducive to the pool player. If you reach a certain level, they're now playing the numbers game rather than working on their personal game and elevating their skill levels and skill sets because they don't want their team to break up by breaking the cap that's put upon them, what numbers they have to stay in. And now they're playing, again, the numbers game rather than the actual game of pool. So they're held back. Pool is the only game designed at all levels, amateur and pro, where you get persecuted for getting better. We've heard players say it 1,000 times. You're not honored for getting better. You're persecuted for improving your game. So now you have to give out handicaps and wait. Now no one else is expected to elevate their game. You're expected to lower yours or balance it out through other means, which is fair. And I'm not saying handicaps are wrong. For heads-up action or amateur tournaments to help level out the field, it's great. But in this structure for an organized professional league, there can't be any of that because does Tiger Woods give any golf strokes advantage to people in the PGA Tour?
No. And the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't spotting the Bengals 7 points before they even do the opening kickoff.
Exactly. So why do we expect it in pool? If you want that structure, great. And those are things that offer that structure to you. This does not offer that structure. This is for those that are looking to improve, take a beating and learn the game from a better player. And then all of a sudden, magically, you're a better player too, because you start mimicking those that you play with. And you start learning their shot selections, their safety plays, how they manage this situation or that situation. You start playing like them, and just your pool IQ and intelligence about the game starts to elevate your physical game as well, because now you're playing in the same pool players. And one other thing is we're mentioning your rating and being excluded, and that's another thing we address. I hear all the time that the Northeast where I live are underrated in everything, because we have apples and oranges and 10,000 different systems, and there's no such thing as a perfect system. We have a lot of good systems, and I believe in a lot of them work to an extent, but they're not perfect in the sense that we have apples and oranges from different locations. Now I'm gathering all those apples and oranges from different locations. Fargo, let's say Fargo 660 from California versus a Fargo 660 from Idaho, where there's only 12 people in all of Idaho that are at that level. You're only going to grow to the skill set of that area, in that pool of players that you're exposed to. New York City has the highest concentration of pool players, higher numbers. It's a numbers game, the law of large numbers, okay? Their 660 is going to be stronger than their 660 because they have so many people that are playing pool. If only 1% of people play pool in any given area, but they have 10 million people in that area, 1% of 10 million is bigger than 1% of 10,000. Okay, so it's simple math. Their 660 is going to be stronger because they play different people and the average is taken against a larger pool of players. With the NBL, we take those 660s from New York and that 660 from Idaho, and they're playing on the same platform with no handicap, but just the format which acts as a handicap. And now those apples and oranges start to level out. I had someone from Texas tell me, oh yeah, this guy from New York, he plays, but they're all underrated over there. And in bar leagues, or this guy's underrated, that guy's not overrated. Are they underrated, or is everyone else in the country overrated? We don't know. We can't answer that until we play together on the same platform, unified, in a pro league, pro tour. Okay? I want to touch on something else as far as, including people, including players. There's a lot of fears. You mentioned fear of people playing, and we understand that. What balances that out? In your local amateur stage 1 events, a race to 5, alternate break format in 10 ball with a template rack, with a set racking pattern and a set break spot is all being applied. So everyone knows what the racking order of balls will be. Practice it. You've got 6 or 7 months to start competing in it. Practice it. Learn how to break from the spot that 10 ball rack on an AccuRack template, which will be used in the events. So we eliminate a bunch of things there. And I don't want to go too deep into this, but we're trying to eliminate all the variables that separate the knowledge and physical aspects of the game and level things out at the amateur level. So we want to eliminate all these guys that try to get the edge by pattern racking, gapping the balls, or manipulating the cut break or the soft break. It's all eliminated. If you don't know 10 ball, the hardest place to break 10 ball is from dead straight on, because now it forces you to have a little bit more power in your break or a higher speed break, where if you soft break and satisfy the rules of getting 4 balls to the rail, you're not going to make those 2 balls behind the 1 ball to the side pockets. It won't happen. So you have to apply a little bit more, or finagle a little bit of an angle out of it as much as you can off of dead straight without sending the cue ball off the table. So now everyone has that high level challenge to try to learn and address. So lesser players will learn from the better players, and the better players are now brought down so they don't have that advantage of their break and break and run, break and run, break and run. Even alternate break also limits them from running away. We are eliminating that drastic advantage, but still offering a competition. So there are handicapping factors in format only, without giving ball spots or game spots, which mentally handicap a player from improving their game. The format will handle that for you. Okay, so race to 5 alternate break from a 660 versus a 720. It's a toss-up, or 719, which say 720 is a pro. It's a fine line. But race to 5 alternate break in a qualifier is anyone's game. You can have an A-class. Let's say it's not even that high. I don't know what the equivalency of, let's say, an A-class player in Fargo would be. But let's say ABCD levels. An A-class can lose to a B-class player a lot in a race to 5 alternate break format. An open player on a bad day against a top B player on a good day can lose also. So you have to be on your game. You have to play smart, conservatively, or aggressively and run out. Either way will work. Whatever your style is, whatever your preference is, the format will balance that out. So we want everyone included. So do I recommend this to C-class and D-class players? Fargo, whatever, goes down to 425, 500. Sure, if you want to get seasoning and experience and maybe get lucky as a C player and cash in the top 8 locally, great. Get your experience because it's only going to elevate your game. What does it cost me? $150? If you don't have that, I understand, don't play. Find some friends, find some local sponsors that want to help you out and grow your game, that believe in you for $50 each, 3 people, great. Right? Or 6 people for $25, whatever it is. It's not that expensive. And no other sport, professional sports industry, allows you to pay your way in to play on the big stage. No matter how bad I want to play football on the New York Giants, can I go to an event, Pop Warner game or whatever, a local football organization.
Michael Strahan's flag football game.
Yeah, and win one event and then go and play in the NFL on TV for millions. No. But this is also, let me touch on that, the word millions of dollars. Can we get there? Yes. A lot of people don't think we're going to get support and sponsorship and so forth from major corporations. Why? Because we're used to not getting it. Because we've been doing it wrong. Because we don't have any value. We don't have a product to offer major organizations a return on their investment. That's business 101. We have to have a clean, self-sustainable product to offer a major corporation some kind of benefit to throwing money away. They've tried it in the past. Events failed. They lose money. They don't do it again. Before, I asked for a single dollar of sponsorship or added money. That will never happen. That's not going to happen. Sponsorship opportunities will be given and made available to major corporations to benefit from advertisement opportunities through 32 locations broadcasting their brand every weekend of the month, all throughout the year for $10,000 to $20,000 a commercial. 20 times more exposure and 80% less than a television commercial on Fox or CBS or whatever. Because they get 20 runs on average for $20,000. 20 runs in a month for their commercial, 60-second commercial. 10,000 per 30-second commercial. The NBL will offer these corporations advertisers 20 runs a weekend, every weekend, 52 times a year. Much, much more than a television company can offer them. when we all come together, streamers, production companies, so forth, advertising and branding these products. And they will get a piece of that. Everyone gets to eat. I have a joke saying to my old friend of mine was teasing me. He said, NBL, nibble. I'm like, yeah, nibble. Everyone gets a piece. Everyone gets to eat. Okay, so I want everyone. I'm not about myself. We have to do this together. We all have to benefit together. And guess what? Another benefit and piece of incentive for an amateur player, a C-class player, to make money, win or lose, at a local event will be. As we stream these events and we save these videos on the NBL server, there will be a tab of an archive of all these events. It will be a free stream for everyone, what we all love, that pool player's favorite word, free. We want it all for free. Great. Get our numbers up. Do your part. Tune in to any one of the 32 streamers and watch live. So that way we can collect that data on our server to present to ESPN, to present to the Olympic Committee, to Fox Sports Network International, whom we've already worked with behind the scenes in the industry, whom I already have connections with. But you will also earn money you'll have the opportunity to earn money by getting into a program which I devised to earn royalties on your performance, win or lose, because on that day, that stream will be free. January 10th, 9th and 10th will be free. Some locations are doing a 2-day event, some locations a 1-day event, but everything concludes on January 10th. And on January 10th, we're going to get all those numbers from 32 streamers combined to present to these corporations to show them the power of us working together as one unified force. And the next day, that Monday, it's no longer free. Don't snooze. If you want free stuff, do your part to get our numbers up so that way we can progress and show those numbers together to ESPN, to the Olympic Committee, to get into the Olympics. On that Monday, it becomes a $4.95 pay-per-view per match. But how do you make money on that? Each player in every recorded match gets 20% of that $4.95 every click for the rest of their life. Win or lose, you can get shut out, but you get 20% of every click for the rest of your life in the program. Okay? Now, the winner gets that too. And then some goes to the venue. Some goes to operational costs. Guess what? Things cost money, guys, by the way. I have to put that in there. Some people don't understand that there's overhead on servers and cloud space and processors and cameras and so forth and webmasters, all this. They have to get paid. They can't work for free. But all you're doing is playing what you already love. So come out, play. Even if you don't win a local qualifier, there's an opportunity for you to get paid residual income by earning royalties on your performance for your likeness, which is another thing we want to raise the value of players and put something out there. I don't want anyone doing anything for free, but it does cost you to enter an event, which you have an opportunity to win money at and make it to the next stage and win a lot more money.
This is probably a good time for me to jump in and ask, what actually is the pay breakdown for the main events?
Out of 128 players, 64 professionals, 64 amateurs, the top 48 win cash. That's 43% of the field win cash. So all you have to do is make it through 57% of the field to make $1,000 at the first level of cashing. 33rd place to 48th, make $1,000. 24th to 32nd, make $1,500. The next bracket makes $2,000, then $2,500, then $3,000, and then it really jumps from $3,000 to $5,000, from $5,000 to $8,000, then $10,000, then $15,000 for fourth place, $20,000 for third, $25,000 for second place, and $30,000 for first. These are all projected figures based upon one thing that I ask all of American pool players to do: participate. Player participation has been an issue for decades. Stop being so skeptical. You're going to get paid even if you lose. What do you have to lose? $150 a one-time thing? And if you win, you're winning cash. If you lose, you can make money. And if you win, you make more money. And you have your hotel paid, your flight paid, your 1,000 entry paid, 2 uniform jerseys that you keep for the rest of your life as memorabilia to show your grandkids, win or lose. You now represent your state. You're getting recognition. I can go on and on about the benefits. It's a no-brainer deal, which is not an opportunity offered by any other professional sports industry. What makes it work? What will be there? I have support from Aramis. I have support from Simonis. I have support from Diamond. I have support from many other people. I've gotten offers from outside companies, outside the industry, outside the country, and I've turned them down because they're trying to nickel and dime on a great opportunity that they see to make money and take ownerships of, which I refuse. I have your best interest in mind. When we show that we collectively participate, a total of 1% every 3 months. That's it. 1% of all pool players in America are required between January and February to participate in qualifiers for $150 each. You can be sponsored in and collectively get money up for it, whatever, to show and prove our unity in an organized league that generates $1 million a year between cash and prizes back to our players, self-sustaining on our own 2 feet, independent of one single dollar of added money or sponsorship. You put in, you get it out. We give and we take. And I promise to everyone, those that participate, we get it back. Everything's open book. So we're generating in each location 32 players, $4,800, 32 locations, all that comes out. Just from the qualifiers alone, we generate, ideally, if we max out the fields, I ask for player participation. That's it. Do what you already love doing. Play pool.
All right. So tell me a little bit about maybe some of the future goals that you have. Obviously, you haven't started the league yet, but you're getting pretty close. January, you said, was the kickoff for the first series of tournaments. What are some of the future goals that you hope to have in the game?
Opportunities are in the works. There are things in the plans for a 401k program, the NBL group health plan, vision and dental. Life will be set up for you through the NBL if we work together and get it off the ground. There's no guarantees. There's only one thing that makes this work and one thing that can make this fail. Us, ourselves, those that love the game. Venues are doing their job, keeping their doors open in tough times right now to offer their locations and open their doors and tables and give up their business for a day or two so you can make money. Step up and play. When we get our numbers up, we can get those group health plans. You can have health benefits so we don't have scenarios of pool players retiring with nothing and being broke. There's a very, very sad joke out there, which we make a joke of and we make light of it, but it's not funny. What do you call a pool player without a girlfriend? Broke. You might chuckle, but it's sad. There's no reason our greatest performers, our greatest athletes out of America are left with nothing. So I'm going to devise that plan. I'm working with companies. I'm working with banks. I'm working with insurance companies also. From my life experiences with technology, insurance, personally, I will figure it all out. All you have to do is the easiest part. Show up and play. I'm putting it out there. I'm calling you out, and I challenge you. Don't contemplate. Don't cry. Don't complain. Don't whine. You want to question everything? I will answer every one of your questions, and I will show you every transaction. Where the money goes, what's going on with it. Great. Here it is. It's out there. It's on the website. Visit nblusa.com, and it's all laid out there for you. All you have to do is click a button. All you have to do is play.
Or, if I can jump in here.
Please do. Please do.
You not only have the option to play, you also have the option to, if you own a local business, pay $50 to somebody you want to see play, right? I mean, that's just as influential as playing yourself, right? If you fund somebody to play for you, if let's say you're a local pool room owner, or maybe you own an auto repair shop, maybe you own a local restaurant, or maybe you own a car dealership. Pay $50 to your favorite player that you think could compete on the national stage and see if they can. Why not?
Absolutely. Not even a national stage, locally, because they're going to be streamed locally as well. across all these platforms. Everything's going to be funneled in. Everything's going to look uniform. Logos, everything. We're all going to be funneled through one location on the NBL USA website, and then multicast and redirected onto all the other platforms out there. But we just want to collect the data. Streamers can advertise, and they keep their money too. I don't want any of it. If they get local sponsors and local businesses to advertise in commercials for the streamers, great. The streamers make money. The players make money. The advertisers make money. And most importantly, the players make money. The industry makes money. We generate it, we keep it. Not the hotels, not the casinos, leaving nothing in the prize fund, nothing for the promoters, nothing for the players. This is kind of like FUBU, you know, that clothing line that was made from nothing. FUBU, FUBU, is a clothing line. It was an urban clothing line, right? You know what it stands for? For us, by us. This is the mission of the NBL, through standardization, organization, and professionalism. Because Johnson & Johnson is not going to put their name on your back down the road when we charge them advertisement or sponsorship packages being offered, and I'll get to that real quick. But they're not going to put their name on your back if you can't pull your pants up and cover your ass. They're not going to put their name on your back if you can't stop slamming your stick on the table and cursing up a storm because you missed the ball, because you're ill-prepared and you don't know how to act. There will be penalties, maybe financially if it has to get there, for people to act right and stop acting like fools. Stop portraying us like they want to see us in the movies as hustlers and gangsters and pimps. Oh, my. No. There's a lot of people that love action. Great. There's money there to be made. You do whatever you want on the side. But this professional sports league must be kept clean. And I mentioned to others, tennis had a John McEnroe. Basketball had Dennis Rodman. Pool has Earl Strickland. He's our bad boy. Here's our wild firecracker. Great. One of them, no problem. It's flair. It's excitement. Here's the bad boy. Not 20 of them acting like fools, acting up a storm. Not the majority of them.
One is marketable.
Yes.
20 is a bad look.
20 is deplorable, right?
Yeah.
So pick up your pants, tuck in your shirt. That's the game we have to play. You want corporate dollars? We have to play the corporate game. You want corporate sponsorship? We do that. But we're not looking for sponsors to just dump money and lose every time. In a year or two, we stand on our own 2 feet. We have right now, day one, or let's say March, the first main event, we begin $1 million league generated from ourselves. It's over $1 million awarded out in cash and prizes. Prizes being flights, hotels are being awarded out, which is what you win on the way as an amateur. So $1 million league self-generated. All we have to do to make that happen is participate. 32 players a month. And we skip every third month. So 32 players, 8 months a year, right? Because we have 8 qualifiers and 4 main events. You have 2 chances to qualify into each quarterly main event. So here we start with January 2021 and February 2021, qualifying 2 players from each location into the March event, main event. April and May, we do the same thing for the June main event. July and August, more qualifiers to get 64 more players into the September event. October and November qualify you into the December event. The main events are going to be scheduled right now. I'm looking at Vegas or Arizona at either Griff's in Las Vegas or Freezers in Tempe, Arizona as the first location for the March event, because we have so many things going on in Vegas already where the professional players will be there. I want to save them travel expenses and sponsors. We have a lot of people working together on this project that had falling outs. That may not be water under the bridge, but guess what? We all have a common goal. We want pool to survive and succeed and thrive once again. In certain areas, it's thriving. In other areas, it's dying out. Pool rooms are closing down left and right. Okay, but people that are in the industry that dedicated their lives, whether you like them or not, they're involved, and we're all working together and putting aside our differences, bridging gaps, and mending relationships to work together. People like a guy in the pool room, whatever, that's on us. Maybe you're not welcome to Sandcastle. Maybe you owe people money or whatever it was. I don't care. You want to play an NBL, play. I'm not going to pick anyone out. It's above me. It's not about us. It's about the game. Okay? Streamers that don't get along, guess what? They're all sending me signals because we are doing this together for the common passion of the game. There might be maybe $1,200 left over that I'll take as a salary for doing all this. Okay? It's open book. There's a lot of overhead costs that are behind the scenes with uniforms and servers and cloud space and so forth. I don't even want to get into it. But we're not even mentioning that because I'll figure that out. I'll pay for it for myself. We have to, but I don't want to have to pay out of pocket, but it's going to be covered. But all I ask for players to do is simply participate.
So I guess at this point, I think you've given a pretty good description of what you're going to be doing and how to, I guess, what to look for the event coming up. Mm-hmm. For anybody out there who's interested in this and wants to partake in this, how do they go about actually signing up for one of these events?
Well, I do want to keep a personal factor involved in this, and I'm having this managed locally by the tour directors in those areas assigned to those locations. So if you go to the NBL USA website, nblusa.com, there's a map on that website called the Qualifier Locator, or whatever you want to call it, the location locator. And it looks like Google Maps where it has a spot locator, but rather than the little orange flag, it has the NBL logo flagging all the locations across the nation that are involved. You click on that locator icon with the NBL logo in it, and it brings up a little form, a page, telling you the venue that it's going to be held at, the tour director assigned to that venue, and a little box of information where you put your email address, your phone number, and a short message expressing your interests. That will automatically send an email to that tour director. That tour director now will contact you either by phone or email and discuss payment options, whether you meet up with them in person to pay your entry or PayPal or whatever the case may be. They will personally reach out back to you in the order that their email or call was received, or that their emails were received, to discuss payment options and explain everything or whatever you may not be familiar with. I'm also handling some of those calls, obviously, from my location and nationally. I'll answer all those calls for the 64 professionals when they come in. But it's very simple. You go to the website, nblusa.com. Everything's laid out there for you, how much the costs are, what the prize breakdown is for the main events, so forth. And let me just touch on one thing I want to make sure everyone understands is we're changing the game. We're elevating the game for everyone. We have a format that's a very fair format for competitive players from a B class level and up. Not to discourage C class and down, you're going to get seasoning. It's not likely you're going to win, but you know what? You will get experience, and it's cheaper than any lesson ever. And you get a chance to play with professionals, top-level players, very cheap. But at the main events, we're also changing how we present the game because we're all going to be in uniform. The same uniform, red, white, and blue-based uniform. We're not going to be representing other countries. This is an American-only league, which we didn't touch upon. Only American residents can play. So the professionals that have retired or stopped playing or got full-time jobs and were discouraged from playing and showing the beauty of their games will come back out of the woodworks because guess what? This is not an international competition. They will no longer be discouraged by the Asians and the Europeans that have those 20 world beaters or those 20 world champions coming over and winning our tournaments. Must be a U.S. resident. You don't have to be a citizen, but you must be a U.S. resident to compete. For example, Mika Immonen resides in New York. Jason Shaw resides in Connecticut. Ralph Kay has a condo in Florida, so forth and so forth. They are eligible to play. They may be international competitors, but they're eligible to play and fill one of those 64 professional spots because they live in the U.S., they pay taxes in the U.S., they are U.S. residents. So they are eligible. The Asians, the Euros, the Middle Easterns, they're not eligible. Maybe in the future we'll have an NBL Open or NBL Open events. But right now we're just concerned with us, focusing on us, elevating our games, and giving a ladder structure for our juniors to grow into and play in events that they can make money at and stay in pool as American pool players. And these events will be broadcasted with excitement in the background, not dead silence. So these 4 events will be very much like a Mosconi Cup every 3 months, where we have music in the background and we're tackling those copyright issues with our own artists, unsigned, making an NBL compilation to play in the background. So that way there's some kind of sound drowning out the dead silence, which is distracting to players, or when you sneeze, it's distracting. We're going to have flashing lights and strobes and intro songs and introductions. And I'll be on the microphone myself trying to rev up players. So, yeah, I'll do the corny intros, call it corny, whatever. It's exciting for the general public to enjoy. Even if they don't like pool, or they like it, but they don't play it avidly, they will be excited because there will be information on the screen talking about the players, post-match interviews, all that to teach the general public about the game with voiceover overlays of the amateur events, explaining how 10 ball is played. It's simple. You count from 1 through 10. Whoever makes it 10 wins. It must be made last for a win. If it's made early, the spot goes up. Anyhow, the other game is 8 ball. We're going back and forth between 10 ball and 8 ball each quarter. 8 ball is the most commonly understood game, and we're following the BCA rules, which are also the WPA rules, which governs the entire Q sport world on the globe. The WPA and the BCA correlate with one another. It's the one same rule set that the entire world plays by, which is the same rule set we will play by. It's enough making up our own stuff and ruining the game, watering it down, changing it for the worse. Locally, good. Universally, bad. So each quarter will be a Mosconi Cup type event, very exciting to watch, with benefits for all. That will be a pay-per-view, because those that actually give back to the well in the billiards industry in America are going to buy the pay-per-view anyway. After the event is over, there will be a summarized, fully edited, television-ready, free event available. So if you want all the details, you want to watch all the guys, you want to watch the whole event, and you can sit there for 12 hours watching an event, or 10 hours for a whole day watching pool, great. That'll be free at the amateur level. It'll be if you want that supplied to you at the pro level, at the main events, that will be a pay-per-view. And then, if you don't really care much, you just want to know the scores, you want to know who won, and you want to watch the 3 finalists and see how their path to victory came about, there will be a fully edited version available maybe a month later, a few weeks later, a month later, once it's edited and known. So you'll know the scores, you know the outcome, but you want to actually see it? Yeah, you get your freebie down the road. You want to see it live? Do your part. Buy a $9.99 pay-per-view or whatever it is, insignificant amount, $25, whatever it is, it's cheap. Because if you go to a baseball game or a football game or a hockey game and you're sitting in the back row in nosebleed seats, you need binoculars to watch those players for hundreds or thousands of dollars or $10,000 or more for a box seat, and their viewers support their players and their industry. We need the good people that care about the game, that care about our players, that don't mind giving $20 or $25 in admission or for a pay-per-view. We appreciate you. We thank you. And you get to see it live. You get all the details of seeing how the guy went from a qualifier to the main event and made $10,000 as an amateur player.
I guess that's a pretty good wrap-up of your new organization and what you're going to be doing in the near future. I am going to be helping out a little bit by running the Wisconsin one for you. So if anybody in Wisconsin is hearing this and you're interested in playing in this type of format or this tournament series, you can reach out to me either on Facebook or you can reach out to me through his website, thenblusa.com, and you'll get in touch with me. I guess I'm going to help out for a couple tournaments and see how it goes. Hopefully I'm going to be able to pawn that off on somebody else for the future. But I'm willing to help out where I can along the way. And I guess from there, we've covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover, Ed.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity, Nate. I appreciate your platform. I know you have a great following already. You're new on the scene, but making a big splash. And congratulations to you with this podcast, with the Cue It Up competitions online while we were all locked down in pandemic. Thank you very much for giving us that to watch. And I thank everybody for listening to me blab about this for so long. And I hope that I just want everyone to understand everything, because you're entitled to understand what makes it work for us and where your money's going and how we make it better together. And I appreciate that. So thank you all. Again, through standardization, organization, professionalism, the NBL commits the money to go back to the players, and we have to cover all operational costs and grow from there. So maybe we start as $1 million league, but down the road, we offer sponsorship packages for millions, just like the Super Bowl or the World Series. Now, if they want to be a title sponsor, there's going to be a $500,000 or $1 million price tag on that, and that will be distributed to everyone as well. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate that. We have a lot of great things, a lot of things in the works. I look forward to seeing everybody at the main events.
Yep. And we'll be keeping in touch, of course.
Yes.
So thanks for joining me again today.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to contribute to the future content that will be made, consider joining the podcast's Patreon at www.patreon.com/QItUp. Becoming a Patreon of the podcast will help to create all of the future content that the podcast will have. Special shout out to Dave Peters, Aaron Taylor, Pete Silsby, Morgan Lupton, Ben Young, Robert Miller, Andy Morse, and Bill Pelham for your generous contributions to the podcast's Patreon. If you ever need any more information on what the Patreon system is, or how you can contribute outside of the Patreon, please reach out to the podcast or Neight himself. If you would like to contribute to the podcast for free, consider sharing any podcasts or the podcast page on Facebook itself. Also, leaving a review and a rating if you listen through iTunes. It helps others find the podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with another episode of the Q It Up podcast.